Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're traveling back in time all the way to the 1800s to explore a side of school history that is seldom comfortable but extremely revealing: the punishments students endured in schools back then. We'll look at the kinds of discipline used, the rationale behind them, how they were applied, and what changed over time. So sit back and let's step into the past together. Picture a classroom in the mid-19th century. Wooden desks, inkwells, stern teachers in dark coats, rows of children in stiff uniforms or plain clothes, perhaps a dunce cap in the corner. Discipline was strict. In many schools, the emphasis was on obedience and punctuality rather than individual expression or the child's emotional experience. This meant that punishments were part of the regime, sometimes mild, sometimes harsh. In today's video, we'll explore several categories of punishment: public humiliation, extra work, physical corporal punishment, harsh implements, and the evolving attitudes toward discipline. By the end, we'll reflect on how far schooling has come and what this history teaches us. The classroom setting and humiliation. In many 1800s schools, the first line of discipline was humiliation rather than outright physical pain. A student might be made to stand in front of the class, wear a sign, sit in disgrace, or even wear a dunce's cap. For example, the dunce's cap, a pointed hat often made of paper, was used to mark a child as slow or disruptive, forcing them into public shame. Other times, students were made to write lines, the same sentence over and over, as a punishment for talking, messing up, or being late. Let's set the scene. Children filing into school, the teacher's stern gaze sweeping the room. A misbehaving pupil quietly gets the cap placed on his head, sits in a corner while the rest continue. The goal? Not only to correct the behavior, but to create a deterrent effect, shame in front of peers. Extra work and idle time as punishment. Beyond humiliation, misbehavior often meant extra work. A student who disrupted class might be given a longer writing assignment, or asked to clean slates, dust shelves, or rehearse the lesson until perfect. This effectively turned learning into punishment. Imagine a row of children bent over writing the same sentence: "Punctuality is the soul of business," which is an actual 19th century exercise books, again and again. The idea? If you misbehave, you lose your time and you regain it by more work. Though less physically punishing, the psychological effect, the fatigue, the monotony, the isolation, was very real. The monitor system and public shaming devices. In the 1800s, some schools used monitor systems. Older pupils were given responsibility to monitor younger ones. Badges or cards marked misbehavior. There were devices of public shame, like being placed in a basket suspended from the ceiling, or being yoked together in wood to parade in front of peers. One particularly extreme example: a wicker basket suspended from the ceiling by ropes and pulleys, in which a child might sit as punishment. The Victorian Historian.com. The idea behind these punishments was power, the teacher and system asserting control, the child being seen to submit. When you're made visible in disgrace to the whole class, you internalize the lesson: don't misbehave. Corporal punishment: the cane, the birch, the ruler. Now we come to the hardest part: physical punishment. In the 19th century, corporal punishment in schools was far more commonplace. Teachers routinely used sticks, canes, birch rods, or rulers to punish children for talking, messing up, being late, or even failing to stand out. In Britain, for example, boys and sometimes girls might be caned on the hand or whipped with a cane on the backside for more serious misbehavior. There are even documented cases of extreme, excessive punishment. One legal case in 1860 in Britain, R.V. Hopley, involved a teacher who beat a pupil to death. When you imagine this, think of the teacher raising the cane, the pupil bending over the desk, the classroom silent, the threat of pain hanging in the air. It's hard to fathom today, but it was every day for many children. Implements and variations of the whip, ruler, strap. Not all punishments were the same. The implement mattered. In Scotland and parts of northern England, a tawse or leather strap was used, with several tails often applied to the hands of boys and girls. In some places, the ruler was used for younger children, hitting the writing hand for mistakes. Fully fledged whippings were reserved for more serious violation. One key point: these punishments were often administered in full view of the class, not hidden away. The spectacle was part of the deterrence. The value placed on obedience and control meant the child became example case.
Purposes and justifications of punishment. Why did schools use these harsh regimes? Several rationales existed. First, discipline was seen as character building. The rigorous environment of school prepared children for industrial society, where precision, obedience, and punctuality were valued. Second, the fear of shame and pain was believed to enforce order when other methods failed. Third, many educators thought that children's natural inclination to idle, talk, fidget, or draw would lead to moral laxity, so strict discipline was deemed necessary. In many ways, the school environment resembled the factory. Tasks, repetition, urgency, supervision. The idea was that a child who could sit still, obey the teacher, and suffer a little would succeed. Criticism, reform, and changing attitudes. However, by the late 19th and early 20th centuries, these practices came under growing criticism. The notion that children should be treated more humanely, that corporal punishment was arbitrary and unjust, began to gain ground. Educational reformers like Joseph Lancaster argued for methods of reward alongside punishment and more limited use of physical discipline. By the turn of the century, growing research into child psychology, changing views of childhood, and social campaigns meant that the rod was no longer considered simply acceptable. Many schools began to phase out the worst practices. The legal case of R.V. Hopley we skimmed earlier became a turning point in legal thinking about how much discipline a teacher could legitimately administer. A day in the life from arrival to punishment. Let's follow a fictional student named Mary in 1850s England or the United States. Many practices were similar. She arrives at school. The teacher stops her for being 2 minutes late. She takes her seat and hears the teacher list the rules. Sit up straight. Do not speak unless called upon. Keep your hands on the desk. Write clearly. During the lesson, Mary fidgets. She whispers to a friend. She is caught. The teacher sends Mary out to the aisle. She must write the sentence, "I must not whisper in class," 100 times after school. Then, she is made to stand wearing a shame badge around her neck. "I have been idle." The next day she is late again. The teacher takes a ruler and strikes her writing hand. Her cheeks burn with humiliation. Through this story, you can sense how the discipline regime is continuous. Arrival, monitoring, potential punishment, public shame, physical pain, extra work. The net result was that many children were fearful of messing up, and the mood of the classroom was one of obedience, not joy. Impact on children and legacy. What was the effect of all this on children? Some stayed quiet, fearful, and compliant. Others rebelled, ran away, or left school early. The sense of school as a safe, nurturing place was not universal. Many children endured pain, shame, and humiliation. Over time, we understand that such harsh discipline could cause resentment, fear, and stifle curiosity. Some historians argue that the trauma of early schooling lingered into adult life. Yet, this history did also lead to reform. Awareness grew that children were not little adults, and that teaching and discipline needed to balance authority with empathy. It helped shape the modern notion of child-centered schooling. comparing then and now. Let's contrast. Today, many schools explicitly forbid corporal punishment. Lessons are often interactive, student-centered, and focused on growth rather than punishment. The idea of making a child sit in a basket suspended from the ceiling seems bizarre, and rightly so. But we should not be complacent. Even now, discipline can cross into humiliation or fear. Understanding the history of 1800 school punishment helps us appreciate how far we've come and how vigilance remains necessary. By knowing what schooling once was, we can value what schooling is today, ideally, a place of growth, not of fear. So to wrap up, in the 1800s, schooling was strict, often harsh, a place where public shame and physical punishment were part of daily life. Implements range from dunce caps and extra lines to canes, birch rods, and cages or baskets of shame. The reasons were complex: industrial society, moral reform, notions of obedience. Reformers gradually challenged the worst practices, and by the 20th century, the tide began to turn. As always, history holds a mirror. What we see may disturb us, but by seeing it, we understand ourselves better. If you enjoyed this dive into school history, do leave a like, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you won't miss upcoming explorations of the past. Also leave a comment. What surprises you most about 1800 school punishments? Thanks for watching, and as always, stay curious.